Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained yet again. I brought in a fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share the video, let everybody know we're here. And one more time, I have on my favorite guest co-host on. There she is.
I tell you about that thing coming back during the intro? Good grief. Oh, I hate that. And again, it's gone. It's gone. So, hello, everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist, self-publishing fantasy comics with this miscreant right here since 1992. I am known for the furry fantasy adventure that he also writes, Tall Tales, and my medieval fantasy drama, Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which you can read both online at my website, EagleWorks, EGOWORKS.com.
All right, cool. Oh, look at this. And look who just happened to make a surprise appearance.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Special guest star appearance.
There you go. So, Tom, how was the show?
It was good. It was good. I literally just walked in the door, set up the computer, plopped it down. I was like, I'm on time. Look at this.
You made it. Nice. All right, good time. All right. And who are you again?
I don't know.
Okay, good.
It's in the credits. It's in the
It's
credits.
in the credits. There you go.
It's right there.
There you go. All right, Tom. There you go. Randy.
Tom. Oh, hey, hello, everybody. Randy Zimmerman here, Arrow Comics. Been doing this since I don't know, the end of the 80s. Been doing all sorts of comics, as long as they're alternative and small press and fun to work on. So I'm currently writing sword and sorcery graphic novels that the great Russ Leach is illustrating, called The Atlantean. So, and the fourth one is currently at the printer, and yes, there it is. Look at, thank you so much. Fourth one's currently at the printer. Fifth one's currently deep into production. So, just polishing up a little bit of scripting, and Russ is doing. He's already finishing pages, so it'll be great.
All right, cool. Amin, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Yeah, so Amin Amat here, mostly illustrator, but now I can say that I'm author of the Road to Oz comic book series, which is currently live on Kickstarter. But I've also done plenty of work in the last decade for IDW, Interscope, Moonstone, and if Tom remembers, I used to bring him energy drinks at New York Comic Con. We used to exhibit there. So, hello.
Hey everyone, happy to be here. My name is Paulie Wenger. I'm a writer. I've done 2 books so far, and we have a third one called Rat King number 2 on Kickstarter right now. So I'm definitely I think the newest one here in terms of getting started, but happy to be here with such a crowd.
All right, cool. Happy to have you, Paulie. Mark.
Hey, what's up? What's happening? I'm Mark Dudley. I'm the big brother / CEO of Imaginos Workshop, art director over at Shine Otaku Comics, do editor over there too. I'm known for my Afrofuturistic sci-fi joint known as Judafist 7 Deaths of the Yobi. It's Body Bags meets Ghost in the Shell.
All right, cool. All right, I just want to pull this up real quick. This is from our regular. This is what a lineup tonight. See, this is what happens when we get rid of Jay. We can elevate the show. See, I'm just there.
Right. And also, just for everyone to know, all the links to all of the campaigns and all of the websites are in the chat and the show notes as well.
There you go. All right. So I'm hoping everybody did their homework. Right? Did everybody do their homework? I don't know. I'm asking.
Tom didn't do his homework.
I haven't done homework since the 8th grade.
Homework.
That we believe. All right. Well, the show, the show tonight is show and tell. So show me a page or a cover from one of your various comics that you've done over however long it's been. And tell me why it's so special to you. But I'm just looking for one page. It could be a double splash, single page, cover, whatever. You understand it? But one, just tell me why you dig it so much, you know. And Mark,
Who
you know how it
what?
works. Last man in, first man up.
Ain't that about something? Man, please.
She
I
get
got,
Virginia.
I got the one for you. I got it. At the end of the day, this is my actual first page to the first Judafist thing I've ever done. Let me find this monster for you. And I love it because again, it really did a lot to it really did a lot to help me in terms of my confidence, because I suffer big time from lack of confidence, stuff like that. But it helped me out a lot. It helped me trying to realize my strengths, my weaknesses, all that type of stuff. But so let me go grab it for you right quick so we can show it and tell it at the end of the day. Oh, good. Yep. I think it's in my colored stash. Oh, it ain't in my color stash. I know where it is.
See,
I asked him first off, hey man, skip me. That's all I can find it.
all right, Randy.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I got it.
You got it, of course.
I got it.
So maybe a dog ate it.
Yeah, the dog might have ate it. You want me to put it in the where you want me to toss it at? You want me to put it in the chat?
It's a digital file?
Yeah.
You can either put it in the chat or you can share it.
Okay, let me go ahead and share it then.
I'll pull it up.
All right, cool.
Anybody else has something to share, you can just share it. There's a little box on the bottom with a plus sign.
Yep,
You just click on that, hit share screen, and then just share it. And I'll pull it up afterwards. Well, when I get to you.
Hold on. Let me find this thing. Yep, there it go right there in the window.
There you go.
Yep, this page right here. I'm a huge Ghost in the Shell fan. I like crazy backgrounds. I love doing backgrounds, unlike most artists. And so this was the first page that I ever finished, as it relates to putting out stuff for Judafist, because I've been doing role-playing game stuff for years, and I've been, scared to death, to put stuff out. But I just finally said, hey, just ain't nothing to it but to do it. And I did it. So the page means a lot to me. It came out really cool. The funny thing, though, that you had another colorist at first, right?
Mm-hmm.
My man was trying to be super experimental and it wasn't working. And so one of the other guys who was working with us, this was actually from our first Kickstarter. So one of the guys who was working with us recommended his friend, and boy, she came through, got gangbusters, man. And then she basically built a career on it. But she might have, Whitney Cook, Tom, did she do some work for you yet?
Oh, tons of work.
Yeah, Whitney Cook. Yeah, this is her first work. She did
Cool.
Whitney Cook color this page for me. Yep.
Yeah, I really like the lighting. Like, like you can see the floor, the way it's lit differently than the rest of the room. Like you tell there's a direct light, and then it fades out into the rest of the scene. I mean, it's really hot.
So this is the love of my life.
All right, cool. So I mean, if this has already been released, what issue is this for? Like,
yeah, this is we did this in our first Kickstarter for this anthology we had called Imaginos Plus, and that was the backstory in Imaginos Plus.
Okay.
Yeah,
right,
this
cool.
is what led it all off. This is actually chapter 10 of Judafist. So I started with chapter 10.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, very nice, very nice. Are you gonna reprint this in the next book?
I've actually reprinted it in a source. I did a source zine recently, and I reprinted this, and I had some pages from another thing I did. I reprinted. So I'll be, this will be when I get the volumes done. This will be in the volumes too. So
Okay.
in its right proper place.
Gotcha. All right, cool. All right, very nice. I like it. All right, Randy, what do you got? Randy, do you hear me?
What do I got? Let me see if I can get you to share something. Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You hear me all right?
We good.
Yeah, we're all right. All right. Let me try to share here. How about that?
Nothing yet.
Maybe you have to take down the share that's up already.
Yeah, you have to disconnect the
Just
one.
nuke that share.
Yeah.
Oh, I see Randy's.
We got it?
There we go.
No,
That's not it.
not there. There's a copy of the no, it should be the cover for Flint Comics number
That's what I'm seeing.
52.
That's what I'm seeing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
that's
seeing
what
from the comics. Yeah.
Comics 52. Yeah.
No, I can see it.
Can you see it?
It has the shop rat.
Really
on
proud
it.
of that. I painted that cover. Really proud of it.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
it's got
go.
the shop
Let's
rat
go.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really proud of that. Painted that cover. Come out exactly the way that I wanted it to look. Whoop, there it goes, and it's
Boy,
gone.
where it goes,
So-
and it's gone. Yeah, hold on.
And
What?
it's gone.
And it's gone.
Is Rosario running this show tonight? What's going on?
No.
No.
They
Yeah.
friggin' StreamYard updated,
hands
and
are-
it's like, and I don't know where anything is anymore.
Oh, it's been a mess for a while.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh, I like that.
But yeah, I did this monthly paper for a while in my little home county called Flint Comics and Entertainment. Had comic strips and stuff in it, and I painted this cover and was just especially proud of it. Real happy with the way it turned out. It's not very often that I do something that it turns out looking exactly the way I wanted it to look. So pretty proud of that.
It was pretty awesome. And how many issues you did that for? 100?
Yeah, did a full 100 issues of it.
Wow.
Had all sorts of comics and comic strips and just anything that I thought anybody would want to read.
And that was what? Was that weekly, monthly?
No, it's monthly, pretty much monthly. Towards the end, we were bi-monthly. It was advertiser supported, so we were able to give it away for free. We had a set of newspaper boxes set up all around the county. And you could just walk up to the little, if you were going into your local restaurant or whatever store where you see those little freebie publications there in the breezeway. Just you pick up a comic paper once a month. There for a few years. Like I said, we ran through 100 issues. We were doing okay until the water crisis happened around Flint, and a lot of the mom and pop advertising dollars just dried up into nothing, and we had a really rough time getting by. And
Gotcha. But you ran it for 10 years?
almost not quite 10 years. We ran 100 issues. So
About 9?
yeah, about 9 years.
About 9
Oh,
years.
but still, though, 100 issues is impressive.
Exactly.
Really
Yeah,
proud
Yeah.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All sorts of articles and stuff. Some local, opinion pieces. Had a guy that was really big into the local cryptids and local monsters in the state, and had a column in the paper. It was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun stuff. We ran Popeye and Flash Gordon, and found a bunch of local strips and local guys that were really good. Ran strips through, and it was just a lot of fun to do.
Very nice. Amin, you're up.
Yeah, I got one. Share screen. Really? That's that now. Let's do image file. Oh, sorry. Slight technical difficulties, a la JD.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Just blame the other guy. Blame the other guy. Go ahead. It's okay.
We'll put this here. Okay, now I should be able to share it. Image file. Boom, there it is. Okay. Show up.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it showed up.
Yeah. This is from the first book of Road to Oz.
Man.
That one. No, while I'm sharing it, for like shameless plug, obviously, but in this particular case, it's because it's one of those times where what you had in your head came out exactly the way you wanted it to come out. The colorist on this one, whose name I totally forgot, he'll kill me. I mean, he did a really great job in like pushing it to the next level, and I think the impact of this page was so much that it's now part of a collection at the New York Public Library.
Oh, cool. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, but this is just like everyone else has been saying, just kind of like taking a leap of faith on your knowledge and your skill set, and just really just pushing yourself to another level. And
now I have to ask, how did you end up with this piece as in the collection of the New York Public Library?
So there's a librarian from the University of Puerto Rico that he's been doing a compilation of all comic book stuff from Puerto Rico and Puerto Rican artists, yada 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 yada. So he's been digging stuff from all the way back to like the 1920s, 1910s, and we've been good friends. And he wanted to do some sort of collection of artwork so it never gets lost. And so he has old stuff, but for all the newer artists, he reached out, and since I know him, he's kind of like, yeah. So if you have any artwork you want to send over, you're never going to see it again. I'm like, yeah, and I won't be able to sell it either, but okay, fine. So I picked this one, and I figured, you know what, if this is going to be out there and for at least until the day after tomorrow occurs, then sure, why not? But not anybody can see it, so it's not going to be just like where just the collector would be able to see it now. If you go over there and you ask, you can see this and like 3 other pages that they have.
Oh, so it's not like it's on public display.
No, they have. It's literally kind of like this whole like Fort Knox sort of scenario that they have. So you can request it. They'll take it to the back room, which does not sound as cool as it is. And literally, they give you the gloves and they bring out the artwork and the books, and you can take a look at it and for as long as you want. You can do that with pretty much anything that they have in the New York Public Library collection.
Yeah. All right, cool. Very nice. Paulie, you're up.
Cool. Let me share my screen. Let's see. Share screen. Great. Allow share screen. And I don't want to share the entire. Hold on. Okay. Let's see if that works. One second, everyone. Figuring this out.
Sorry, it's okay. I think Mark already established,
There we go. Does this pop up?
There it is. I got it.
Okay, cool. So
nice.
As I mentioned before, I think I'm the most relatively new person working in comic books. I started actually in the fall of 2024. I was a PhD student. I'm still am at the University of Delaware. I study history, and I got to my winter break, and I did what I think most PhD students do is when you start to go, oh man, I don't want to do my dissertation research. I want to do something fun instead. And so what we had done first was I was a big fan of card games, and I made a card game about the Boston molasses flood, which is a real historical event in 1919 where a giant water tower full of molasses exploded, covering the city of Boston, destroying the North End. And so we made this card game. We did it on Kickstarter, and we made about 1,000 copies of the game. For that game, I found an incredible illustrator named Francesca Carita, whose name I always mess up because she's Italian. And she was incredible. She did these really intricate drawings of the molasses and the horses and the USS Nantucket soldiers. And she had started out being an illustrator for independent comic books like from Dark Horse and Scout. And she actually has a book coming out from McNeil this month. And so we did the game first. And me being a comic book person, I was like, we have to do a comic book together. So we started doing this comic book about rats. I think a lot of us have a similar interest in that way here tonight. And so we started telling this story about 2 New York City rats escaping through the sewers and uncovering a plot by their rat king to exterminate the poorest rats in the city using cats. And so this is our first big splash page for issue number 1 of that comic book, introducing us to one of the big bads of our story in Hades the Black Cat. And I think this page does an incredible job illustrating how scary this character is while keeping it a bit light and friendly as well.
All right. Very nice. I love it. It looks great.
It's a nice page.
Yeah, she's incredible. And Gonzalo Duarte is our letterer as well. And he does a good job throughout the comic, really making it kind of pop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks great. I mean, she does a fantastic job of layering, the images.
Yeah.
One on top of one another and shit. Yeah, it's great. I mean, listen.
And I think, JD, one of the nice things about those of us that are writers first is when you can kind of give it to the artist to do things on their own and be whatever you want to do, kind of push them towards it. For example, in this page, in no way, shape, or form did I write in the script that the door has all these comic, rat characters in the background that you see behind the cat. But Francesca's just such an incredible artist on her own that she does that.
Right.
Yeah, really, really amazingly.
Yep. Oh yeah. I know exactly what you mean. It's good, awesome. And just a quick plug. Currently on Kickstarter.
Yes.
Go get
issue number 2, please.
There you go.
6 days left.
There you go. Very nice. Very nice. Love it. All right. Tom.
There's a few things that I could show that came to mind, but this was the one that came to mind immediately because I've always had fun with this page. So this is our book, Ursa Minor, which is vampires and werewolves and all the monsters and so on. So we've got this bar here where the vampires show up to see the show, and Angela's the waitress taking their orders, and the vampire dude there, Albert, he obviously gets a little handsy. And then we see his hand kind of comes off her butt, and she's got crosses on her butt. I've always patted myself on the back for this. I'm like, how does a waitress in a vampire world deal with the grabby hands? And that's the answer: is put some crosses on your butt, and you'll be fine. So I've always loved this page. It's super fun, and while all of Ian's art, Ian Snyder did this page. All of Ian's art is in somebody's collection. He bought all of it. Ian gave me this page, so I actually have this original page in the collection. So the one dude isn't happy that he doesn't have a complete collection, but up beans, buddy. This one's mine. Couple other things, like CB Zane has done some stuff for Goth Day where we were incorporating musical notes into the panels. Like some of the panels are actual musical notes, some are just kind of blend into musical notes. He did a great job with that whole book, with the musical theme throughout it. So we've done a lot of cool stuff, but this was the first thing that came to mind, and I like it. So there we go.
All right, cool. Very nice, very nice. Daphne.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you got? What do you got?
All right, let me.
I don't want to hear technical difficulties.
Oh no, not at all.
Hey,
Not at all. It's right here. It's right here. It's right here. Right here. So this is a double splash page that I did for an adult comic that I did called Eagle Raven, the Unicorn King's Daughter, and it's a spoof. The entire thing is a spoof on Conan the Barbarian. Well, I think it's like the Savage Sword of Conan, the Frost Giant's daughter, and the challenge that I gave myself doing this book is that every panel had to be a direct rip from a Conan, from the Conan comics. Like I even tried to imitate when I did the writing. I even tried to imitate Roy Thomas. Yeah, I tried to imitate Roy Thomas's dialogue because it's supposed to be like just a complete rip / homage to it. And this is a a direct reference to this particular splash page. But of course, like I'm not going to take it directly because the environment is different. So this is what I came up with based on those pages. And it's really funny. It's not even part of my main series yet. The goof book that I did, because in the end this was like a book that I did because of a joke that I made on Facebook, and it ended up including some of my favorite like page work in my entire series so far. So this page is my favorite piece of comic book work so far in my series. So thank you, thank you, RJ. I'm very proud of it.
All right, cool. Very nice. All right. For myself, initially, it was going to be this image that I have behind me here with Oswald and his wife, Belinda. But I've been lettering, so I was like, oh, I'm going to choose this other one. All right. So I'm going to share it here. And it's this image here. And the reason I chose this image is because it starts off a story called The Trial of Oswald, and it's where he gets to tell his story, where he gets to explain exactly what his history was in Dream, because he goes into Dream for a while, and he's there. In reality, only 2 weeks our time, but in Dream, it's about 80 years. And he goes in and he tells this story for the first time, and it's pretty much a very elaborate story. And took the artist, still not done. He's almost done. About 2 years to complete it. It's going to be about 180. It's going to be 189 pages when it's finished. So it's one pretty sizable graphic novel when it's going to be done. But yeah, I mean this and this particular image was illustrated by, and of course I always forget the guy's name. Where is it? Oh, Rodrigo Rocha. And he's done work for like IDW and Boom and a couple other companies. I just saw him on Facebook one day, and I was like, and he was just like, "Hey, I'm looking for work, blah blah blah." And I just contacted him, and he did this cover for me, which I thought was really neat. So, because not everybody can capture Oswald, right? And that's always been the hardest thing. Not everybody can capture his characters. So, I just like this one. I got him working on a second one, but he does take his time. But that's that's par for the course, I think, for some artists.
When he showed me this piece for the first time, I asked him, it's like, oh, so when did you start getting published by Dark Horse?
Right? I was just like, but that's just the feel of his work. Because I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, this guy could do it. So I hired him to do a cover. And then, like I said, I'm hoping I could get him to do all 9, because I broke down the story to 9 issues. I'm hoping he can do all 9, but we'll see. I'm sure I'll get at least 2. No. Oh, look at this. Jay showed up.
Huh?
So Tom's not supposed to be here. He's here, though.
Oh, boy.
Jay's on the road somewhere. Bro, be safe. Pay attention to the road. Daphne.
Yes.
You're up.
Oh, okay. So this has more to do with I guess like storytelling rather than art, but I guess we can figure it out. What random fact made you go down a rabbit hole and you eventually decided it needed to be incorporated somewhere in your story?
Cool. Randy. All right. Randy, you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Did you get the question? You're up.
No.
Oh, okay.
What was the question?
Okay. What random fact made you go down a rabbit hole and you eventually decided it needed to be incorporated somewhere in your story?
Huh.
Like you never thought about it until that one moment, and then you're like, I got to use this.
I don't know. Maybe you should pass on me for a minute. Let me think about it.
All right. I mean, can you handle it?
Yeah, I can handle it.
Okay.
For me, it was the dust storm from the Dust Bowl. That became as I was doing research. It's like I kind of knew that the story was going to take place not in Oz, but in Kansas, but it was like a present day or whatnot. And I think I fell into the rabbit hole known as the Ken Burns The Dust Bowl documentary. That was 2 hours of about 75 hours that were but it was worth it. That pretty much got me into that, and then reading books about the Dust Bowl and reading all sorts of stuff about the backstory, and that helped fill in a lot of the gaps that I had in my story, like, you know, cause effect and intentions. But it was, and it's pretty much starts in the very first page, you know. So from it's a character.
All right, cool. Paulie, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, most of what I do starts out by rabbit holes, both in my professional life and in comics creation. Rat King, my comic book series, comes from Rat Kings. I think most of us might be familiar here with what exactly a Rat King is, but this dates normally to about the 16th century, normally during plague times, when there'd be so many rats going over top of each other that their tails would get put into a knot, and there'd be about 8 to 10 rats, and they would be considered a squirming mass known as a Rat King. And I had heard about this for a while. I mean, this pops up in the Nutcracker, it pops up in a bunch of media and in other places. But I became really fascinated about it, using that idea of a Rat King to tell the story of democracy, rats coming together to become one, overcoming monarchy or a Rat King. So, like, the Rat King in my comic book is just a big rat initially, but kind of a spoiler, throughout the story, my protagonists are going to have to work together to overthrow that Rat King and create their own kind of society. So, I mean, unfortunately, being a historian, everything I do is history oriented, and that's just one of the things I got to deal with.
Yeah, very nice. I mean, listen, a lot of holes. You know, a lot of rabbit holes.
Yeah,
for sure. Mark, what are your thoughts?
I'm big into esoteric stuff first and foremost, and I'm huge in Octavia Butler. So when I read Parable of the Sower, she talked a lot about this religion that one of the characters made called Earthseed, right? And so Earthseed made a lot of sense for what I was trying to do. This is when I was transitioning Utifus from a superhero comic to a sci-fi comic, right? And so Earthseed, you know, it just talks about different understandings of God and stuff. And I also start getting into, again, another esoteric rabbit hole, dimensional states of being, 7-dimensional states of being. So I start getting into that in terms of the power levels of the character or the ability levels of the character and stuff like that, right? So you got like first dimensional up to 7-dimensional stuff like that. So that rabbit hole really helped me to move it better from sci-fi. I mean, to sci-fi from superhero stuff.
All right, cool. Randy.
Well, you got to look at rabbit holes. I one of the, I think, last rabbit holes I went down was some native mysticism. Been reading a couple of books about the beliefs of the indigenous people. It's added a couple of nice elements and a really good story for the Atlantean for number 5. So does that count?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Kind of an interesting little, you know, rabbit hole that led to this, that led to that, that led to a story. Yeah, it's good.
All right, cool. Tom, what do you got?
So I'm sure there's things that I'm forgetting, but the only thing that's coming to mind really was sort of a required rabbit hole, because we had the context. I had the context of a idea. I had the seed of an idea that I told to Ryan Kincaid one time. And the seed of the idea was basically a gender bent headless horseman. And I was like, well, how do we, what's the hook of a gender bent headless horseman? Like who lost their head that would matter to anyone? And then it immediately snapped. I was like, oh, Jesus, Marie Antoinette lost her head. So we could have this story where, you know, she comes back from the dead and goes and gets the guillotine that cut her head off, and off we go on the story. But but at the same time, I was like, okay, but how do we bring her back? Like what's our supernatural element? And I didn't want to just be like, oh, we found her head and we've got her skull and now she has to do what we have to do.
It's
like
magic.
yeah, yawn. I don't want any of that. So
Just come rolling along.
yeah. So the rabbit hole that I went on was sort of a required one, but it was one that I hadn't expected to ever find, which was finding actually the transcripts for her trial and execution, which you can find them online. And it's brutal to read because it's handwritten. It's you know, old
I'm assuming
writing.
it was translated
Like,
too.
oh my
'Cause
God.
assuming it was French.
Yeah. So I'm reading this stuff, I'm struggling to get through it, but I'm reading this stuff about the trial and, you know, how she was kind of ramrodded and, you know, none of it was all kind of made up. And then it got to the execution. And that's the part where I found our way in, because in the stories of her execution, there's a portion of it where, so what I didn't know was that back in the day, public executions literally were public executions. People would show up almost like they're tailgating at sports events now.
Yeah.
They'd show up and wait for it to happen. And, you know, there's this, what did they call it? Basically, women would just show up and just start knitting stuff while they're waiting. You know, we're waiting for the heads to come off. So it was crazy. And so within that context, when Marie got her head lopped off, as the story goes, 3 girls came out of the crowd and had rags, and they started to mop up the blood that was coming off of the stage. And basically they were quickly sort of, get out of here, kids, stupid kids, get out of here. And then that's the end of it. Nobody knows who they are or what they were. And that was my door. That was the immediate instant door that I had open. I was like, it's those 3 girls. That's our story. That's how we can create a supernatural element with the blood and so on to bring her back to life. And so that's what we did. And Marie Antoinette came to life with her guillotine.
Cool.
So yeah.
All right, cool. I think for me, one of the things I like theoretical science is one of those things I've always been into, right? And one of the really far out things is, you know, we've all heard of Ringworld, right?
Yep.
But one of the things based off of something similar to that is a Dyson sphere, and I don't mean the vacuum.
We've all seen Star Trek, Calderon.
Exactly.
We know what a Dyson sphere is.
Yes.
So it's the Dyson sphere from you recognize it from Star Trek, where it has a sun, and then, you know, the crust that's in the inside. You live on the inside of it, right? So I can only imagine how big this thing must be, because you have a sun in the middle. You can have other planetary bodies rotating around it, but yet you still have this crust that encases it, right? And how big it must be. So I came up with this thing called the God world of Lykar, right? And it's a world that was created by a race of sorcerers. And they call it the God world because they sacrificed all of their own gods, plus they would travel to other dimensions to take their gods, and they used all of their energy to create this Dyson sphere from their dying, because their world was dying. And they were like, nah, this isn't going to happen, because they felt they were just too powerful. And over the course of over 1,000 years, they built this world. And it's called the God world of Lykar. And it factors a little bit into the Oswald mythos, because he looks for a particular artifact that they use to create that planetoid. And yeah, so it's one of those things where, as I remember, I just continuously did research on it over and over again. And of course, instead of using a science fiction story, I applied all of it to like fantasy. So
Right.
which is a lot more fun for me. So yeah, that's my rabbit hole. So Daphne, what's yours?
Well, there was this interview. I forgot the author. I don't know if it was Ursula K. Le Guin or Ursula Vernon. I don't remember which one, or if it was even either one of them. And I just remember in the interview, they had said that the first thing that they look for in a fantasy story is what your medieval city's sewer system looks like. And they had said that if you have no mention of a sewer system, then she says I can't take your story seriously because it tells me you didn't think it out, you didn't think it through. And I always thought that was like really stupid, that it's like, well, no one's going to write a story. You're not writing a fantasy story about medieval toilets, so why would that be like, a hard line to cross, Until one day I was drawing out a map of a house that I was going to use as like trying to figure out like my panels. And I got to the part where it's like, well, where would the toilet go? And all of a sudden at this moment, I was like going, damn it, I have to look up how a medieval toilet works. And I ended up down this entire rabbit hole about medieval hygiene and finding out that flush toilets existed in ancient Mesopotamia. And that even during medieval times, there were variations of that type of technology. Pretty much we can blame the Victorians again for kind of like making medieval times sound like more heinous than it really was. People did actually bathe. They did actually have hygiene. It's just that it's not the way that we see it, how we experience it. I found out that medieval monks created the whole concept of a spa weekend. And it was just like all this crazy stuff. And it's like, in the more that I took that information and then combined it with kind of like, how to make a compost toilet, that I was able to mash that information together to kind of like come up with a somewhat realistic medieval bathroom setting. To the point where it's like, look, I did all this research. I had to think about this a little bit too hard. I'm going to mention this in my story somewhere. And it doesn't happen in the comic, but in the Eagle Raven novelization, I have an entire page just dedicated to the idea of what cleaning a medieval toilet entails. just so it's like, and what's funny is that for something that I was willing to just kind of like, get out of here with that, I felt like it actually kind of added something to the story, just a little bit, even though in the end it turned out to be just a paragraph, of describing Eagle Raven cleaning medieval toilet. It was, I don't know, it's like it just seemed to like add like just a little something to the story, like that little bit of realism that kind of like, like it's a fantasy, but it's still grounded somehow. We don't have to pretend that this doesn't happen. And then it's like, and in the end I was like going, oh, now I get it. Yeah, so
all right, cool. So I mean, well, all roads, I guess, lead to toilets and sometimes to us. So I mean,
3 out of 10.
Yeah, I know.
3 out of 10.
That wasn't my best one, but
right.
there you go.
Do.
Yeah.
sorry, is my Kickstarter campaign, The Road to Oz Chapter 3, which currently is at 80%, so I need to update that graphic. So in this particular issue, we get to see Scarecrow and Dorothy rekindle an old friendship, but a foe that we thought was dead is returning. Yeah, I mean, what else can I say without spoiling anything? I got some preview pages up on there. I got some color pages up on there. I'm pretty much about 2/3 of the way done with the books. So by the time this campaign is over and the funds are received, it's just going to be a matter of kind of doing fulfilling all the reward tiers and getting them out to everybody, which has been great because I've been getting this book out to places like Germany, South Korea, Greece, the UK, Ireland is very popular. They have quite a number of backers over there. But yeah, just take a look, hit me up.
All right, cool. Now this is issue 3 of how many issues?
This will be 3 of 4 for the first volume.
Okay. And how many volumes do you think you're going to be going?
I have plotted out 4 volumes with four chapters each.
Very nice. All right, cool. And you're doing all the work yourself? Like, what are you doing on this? Penciling, inking?
Writing, penciling, inking. I do have a colorist, but I do art direction with him, and then I do have a letterer. But of course, that I'll also kind of do some suggestions on changing fonts and whatnot. And and for the whole kit and caboodle, including the marketing. And as you kind of saw there, I'm also on a book tour. So I will be at the American Library Association conference in Chicago in June. I'll be at IC3, the Indy Comics Creator Con in Jacksonville on July 11th. I'll be roaming around San Diego. I'll be at TampaCon in September, and I'll find out if I have a Artist Alley table at New York Comic Con. If not, then I'll be wandering around.
All right, cool. Very nice. Now, so this is issue 3, and then you're gonna move on to issue 4. When do you think it'll be? The next campaign will be up in a couple months, 3 months, next quarter?
Per the scheduling that I have, I should start the 4th one probably after San Diego before Tampa, because otherwise it's going to get pretty hectic. So that's the current per my schedule for the Kickstarter. I have it starting around there for a delivery date, probably by New York Comic Con.
Okay, cool. And one last question, what drove you to do this book? Because obviously you were working professionally doing other things. What drove you to do your own thing?
Oh, that's a good one. I got frustrated. I was always the guy that was called upon to save other projects. Mm-hmm. And once you start saving 6 projects or more, and you're just kind of telling the editors, look, why don't you just hire me from the get-go? We would never be in the situation. I think that, and also just kind of seeing, the older peers and colleagues having all sorts of issues trying to get work later on in life. Mm-hmm. And I figured, what? The best way to do it is just have something that's mine. And it took me a long time to figure something out. And I think out of nowhere, just started drawing this version of Scarecrow and the girl. And I figured, okay, this might be the start of something. Let me look into it. And then that led to the rabbit hole with the documentary. And then I think I was reading a book by John Truby about 22 steps of storytelling, which is a complete lie because it's 22,000 steps. But it helped. And that kind of helped me kind of really bring it together. And I think, and then icing on the cake was really going back to Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell and really getting into that and kind of fleshing everything out.
All right, cool. All right. So listen, very nice. You're, like you said, you're 80% funded. You got another, you're down to 2 days. So everybody go pick up this book. There's an awesome book. Go pick it up. Very nice. All righty. Let's see. All right. I'm not even going to try because this book is too awesome to try. The Rat King. Paulie, do you want me to play the video?
No. You don't have to play the video. It's all good. I'll just repeat basically everything I say in it, which is we're in issue number 2 of 5 of Rat King, and where issue number 1 left off was a little bit of a cliffhanger, and so we get to meet a few more characters in issue number 2, and of course, knowing me, I love frogs, so we get to see some of the nasty critters you can find down in the sewers of New York City. So they have only about a week back to get back to the Rat City, so hopefully they can make it along the way. And one of those characters that you meet, you'll see in that page right there, which is one of our main characters' older sister named Penny, who's a little bit rambunctious and likes to gamble and have fun.
All right, cool. So now,
Yeah.
Paulie, what inspired you to do this? Like why rats? Why New York City? Why the whole thing like that? I know you said the thing about the rats gathering themselves together, but what I mean, because what were the other things that inspired you?
It's so interesting. My first comic that I did with an artist named Tomas Ira. I always mess up his name. And it was a horror comic for Afterlight Comics in the UK, which is a publisher that mostly does horror. And I just wanted to go in a completely different direction and do something that's more for not really a young audience, but a younger or more fun, I guess, audience. So I get to tell jokes. I get to be a little more friendly. There's no real blood or anything in this book. So it's something where I thought to myself, here's a book that I can do to tell a story about maybe a little bit about politics today, while also making it a fun and engaging story for younger people as well.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And this is issue 2 of what?
2 of 5,
2 of 5.
and issue number 3 is already drawn, colored. It's not lettered just yet, but issue number 3 is already done as well.
Okay, cool. Very nice, very nice. Now, just out of curiosity, so you're going for your doctorate?
Yes, I'm at the University of Delaware. I study history. Surprisingly, I actually study the history of prisons, which can be a little bit dark at times. And so it's been kind of fun to get to tell a more fun story about rats and them eating fun food and fun things popping up along their journey there. So I can get away from my research of just despair and sadness all the time.
Okay. Because it's funny. I was going to ask you, how does this play into that?
Yeah. Right. Maybe as the opposite.
Right. No, but that's pretty cool. You have this release. I have joy in
just
my
don't
life.
tell my advisors, don't tell my supervisors that I'm not doing dissertation research.
Right. Very nice. All right, cool. I mean, and all right. So, and beyond the 5 issues, do you foresee more issues coming up, or are you gonna just leave it at the 5 and cap it off?
Well, the one thing I really want to do, being a history person, I think was it Tom earlier who mentioned Marie Antoinette.
Mm-hmm.
This is set in New York. I would love to, if this does well and we can find someone to do a graphic novel format, I would love to set one in Paris and do a faux French Revolution.
Okay.
But that's all way down the line, so maybe one day.
Okay, cool. Listen, man, the book is great. I got the first issue. I'm looking forward to the second one. So yeah, man, great stuff. Beautiful artwork. Story's a lot of fun. You got 82 backers. You got 6 days to go. You pass your funding goal, but like everybody else, you could always use a little bit more, right?
Thank you, JD. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So everybody, go buy this book. It's a great book. Thank you. All right, cool. Where are we? Oh, this guy.
Which guy?
This guy, Judafist.
Oh, okay. So this is my Afrofuturistic comic Judafist. It's a web comic right now. I have a physical comic as well, but but being on the web has helped me out a great deal. This is surrounding this guy, Amru Jones. He's a bioweapon from our time who wakes up in the future and finds out he still has these relatives left in the form of 3 orphan kids. They have his same DNA, and so the people he's been battling our time are super strong in the future. And so they found out that these kids are around. They're like, we don't need him. We'll take his kids. And so we want to turn them into bioweapons. But there's also a larger conspiracy going on that is actually 50,000 years old and involves aliens. So this is Judafist. Actually, what I also just did, I put up the source zine. This should be the last thing in the chat. I'll put the source zine, and the source zine, it tells you basically how I decided to make it into a superhero comic, and it also gives you a lot more information on the world and some of the future protagonists he's going to be battling, and some more pages and stuff too.
Okay, cool.
And Daphne, if you could put that in the show notes, and people, I'm giving away.
Actually, I just put the link to Judah Fist, the webcomic, in the chat just now. So
cool. Yeah, but that source scene is for free too, so people can download that too.
All right, nice. So now, when are you getting this up on Kickstarter? Like a physical?
Like I said, still November. I'm still making good headway to finish up that third volume. It's going to go on to Kickstarter in November.
All right, cool. And how many pages is the whole thing going to be?
90 for the volume. Yeah.
Okay, very nice. All right, cool, man. Listen, man, I'm looking forward to having a physical copy.
Well, sure, I can send you a physical copy of number 1 right now.
No, man, I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to back. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
You know, I'm willing to back.
So it's a free download, right?
Yeah, it's a free download. Judah Fist itself is a webcomic. You can go to the webcomic, but I also just put up the source zine in the chat, so and you can toss that up as a free download too.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. There we go. Okay.
All right, cool. Now we got BDI World Goth Day celebration. Tom, what are we looking at?
I don't know, man. This has been a whirlwind. We just launched this Thursday night at midnight because I knew I was going to be on the road up to this con this weekend for Friday, which is last Friday was actually World Goth Day. So we launched this midnight on Thursday night. So it's been a bizarre launch. This is our 4th issue of Goth Day. It's the final issue of Goth Day. Basically, it's a world where we can take all of our characters from all of their normal worlds and reimagine them in this goth world, this dark universe, and they can all kind of hang out together. So like Catnip is the goth version of our Critter superhero characters. So this issue, so each of the issues kind of has always had sort of a theme and a tone of its own. It's not like a continuity thread. It's like each one examines a different aspect of like creativity, and in this case, it's conformity, social conformity. What's conformity? What's non-conformity? How do you kind of step into and out of the box of all sorts of different things? CB Zane and Gat Melvin are back on the colors, on the art and the colors. And as we've always done, like we talked about earlier, the Goth Day with the musical notes and stuff. This will have some artistic variation and design to it as well. As you go through here, you'll see some pages that have like stars built into the campaign or built into the panels and so on. So it's going to be a really interesting. The story is about nonconformity and stepping out of the box, but then the art will also be very nonconformist in what you kind of expect from a comic book as the story goes along. We're not showing any of the pages that are going to be sort of like the surprise pages. You'll see that when you get the book. But CB and HDE, they're going to have to be doing some stuff with the art and the letters that is not your normal comic book. And I'm excited to kind of be able to push the boundaries of what we're doing artistically. So this will be the last Goth Day issue. If you, like I said, if you haven't read any of the previous issues, you'll be fine. You can grab this one. It's a story within itself, but all the 3 previous issues are also available. So you can get in and catch up on the whole thing before it's gone. Lots of cool variants. Mike Crome, Mike DeBalfo, Lene Dye, Narcelio Sousa. Our special spotlight artist you saw at the top was Stefan Sejic from Sunstone. That's a big bucket list work with that guy off my list. New artist Zach Raw right there. So yeah, awesome covers. There's variants, there's foils and metals. If you like that stuff, you can get those combinations. We have a mystery box for you that has a variation of the Stefan Sejic cover. There's issues 1 through 3. You can get all the covers in one big easy combo. And then there's a bunch of Big Dog Ink stuff. Catch up on things that you may not have tried out. Scheherazade, In Crowd, Iron Butterfly, all kinds of different stuff in the add-on section to try out the rest of the Big Dog Ink books. and we're already funded. We've already unlocked the first stretch goal. First stretch goal is the trading card that goes along with Calderon and Rosario and Marvin and Moltari, the trading card set that we're doing all together. All of the cards have been unlocked, so no one's missing a card. But if you didn't get in on the campaigns, tomorrow I'm going to be making an update for these cards that will have all of the links for the previous campaigns. So if you missed one of these campaigns and you didn't get the card, you can go to those links and pledge for the late pledges and get the cards. But ours is unlocked. It is my second card in the set. And on the back is a 9-piece puzzle of all of our characters together, like the old 70s trading card sets. So yeah, go get some Goth Day and then follow the links to all the other stuff.
All right, cool. Very nice. Listen, as always, man, always put out a great campaign, a great product. Great looking book. Very nice. All righty. Daphne.
Yes.
What do we got? What do you got? What do you have?
Okay. Oh, so this is the pre-launch page for my upcoming campaign, Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, Volume 3. This is, like I said, this is the pre-launch page. Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn is the story of a unicorn princess exiled into the mortal realm who trains to become a knight, hoping to win a king's favor and save her people. In Volume 3 of this 4-volume series, or the entire 16, it's actually a 16-issue series. Volume 3 collects issues 9 through 12. Eagle Raven survives the ordeal of the tower, emerging with the title of Knight of Turnham. As she returns to her enchanted kingdom, the stakes rise as she realizes the dragon lords are attempting to resurrect a goddess and start a war against the realm. After refusing a tempting parley with the manipulative Prince Rillian, boy, do people love to hate that character, Eagle Raven is forced to assert her rightful claim to the throne of Edenron in a challenge brought by rival elves who resent her return. Eagle Raven is the story of trying to find your place in opposite worlds and learning that the people who will stand by your side and lift you up are not exactly the ones you would expect. It's a sword and sorcery fantasy with a soap opera twist featuring character relationship-centered stories with unicorns, elves, dragons, and furries. Also, what makes this campaign at least special to me is that it's the first, it's going to have my first Zhang Brothers cover, which I am absolutely thrilled to be able to get a cover from them. Actually, now I'm on my 3rd cover because I ordered 2 more after this. So once that cherry got busted, I was like, okay, give me another one, give me another one, give me another one. But they're absolutely worth it. And like I said, I'm just thrilled to have a Zhang Brothers cover, which will be on a special reprint of issue 1. And there's going to be a regular version like you see in the thumbnail. And there's going to also be an absolutely gorgeous nude version that is going to be a little bit of a tough sell with Kickstarter being the way it is right now. So, but it's still going to be there. So, so this is Volume 3. And for anybody who missed the previous campaigns, I'm going to have Volume 1 and Volume 2 along, also available on this campaign, along with some of the previous issues. So nobody's missing out on anything. So like I said, so it's on pre-launch right now. So if people, want to hit that notify me button, so that Kickstarter will send you an email when my campaign goes live, most likely sometime next month in June. I just haven't decided what day yet.
All right, cool, very nice. Everybody, go hit that notify button. All right, cool. I'm gonna pull up my campaign very quickly, run through it, because we're down to the hours. So this is the Oswald Chronicles, A Country Night in New York City. Oswald is telling the tale of a young lady. Her name is Anna. She's the one on top of the chicken. So Anna is a country knight, and she's what's called a Chalcedon, and they live all throughout the United States, all throughout the world. But this particular race, they live alongside of the Fae. Humans can't see them. Oswald can see them. He can interact with them. He does interact with them quite frequently. They're a race of sorcerers. And her family, basically her father and her brother, they were the leads of the family. But both of them died in a war. And she's the only one left that can carry the family crest and the armor. And she's been sent off on a special mission to go to New York City, gather an army to bring back to help defend her land and her people and her township from these Fae that have come out of nowhere, and they're very mysterious and they don't know what's going on. And these Fae are like very strange to them because they're using both technology and magic. And this is something that's completely new to them, and they're trying to find out what's going on. And Oswald's telling the story of this young lady, and she's going out. And I also have this very awesome death dealer, Frank Frazetta chicken cover.
Chicken.
Yep. And then, and I just ran with the theme, and I had him do basically all the death dealer covers as alternative covers. And here's some of the interior pages by the regular series artists. This is Jade Gonzalez, and book's a lot of fun, and it's already complete. So like most of my campaigns, as soon as this gets funded, it gets sent off to the printers, and as soon as it gets to the printers, I'll be shipping them off. Probably the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then I'll be launching again. So there you go. So
Excellent.
yeah. So so go check it out. I only got a few hours left. I think there's only what am I down to? 16 hours. So yeah, 16 hours. Go check it out. There you go. All right, Tom.
You're lucky I'm here. My last question.
I'm surprised he even had artwork to show. So
I know. Well, look. I thought I'd try anyway. All right. All right. Here's a question for everybody. So we're all creators here. So, what is the thing in comics creations you're most comfortable with? Right. So, what's that thing when you're creating a comic that you feel the most at home? Right. Like, where is it? Amin, you're up.
Sure. I want to say doing the sequentials. So I'm really comfortable and okay with doing interior work, which I know that it's a lot of work, but I don't know. It does. I don't know. I guess I'm a little different that way because I don't mind it at all. Even though it can get complicated, and then just trying to figure out the storytelling and composition and all that other stuff. But yeah, that seems to be my niche, my happy place.
Working on the sequentials.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Very nice. Paulie, what are your thoughts?
As the newest person here, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with anything yet, JD. I'm definitely still getting the hang of it all and just enjoying the learning process of it all. I'll tell you, today I did my second time ever at a convention, my second ever convention today. And I think I had an easier time talking with people and getting to meet them than the actual writing process for me. It was just more fun to go and meet people and tell them about the book and hear what they were excited about. Because, as the new person, I think I'm just overanalyzing everything I do. So still uncomfortable, but I think in a good way.
All right. That's fair. Mark, what are your thoughts?
Backgrounds, man. I'm a big Ketsuhiro Otomo fan. I'm a huge Masamune Shirow fan. So, their backgrounds are, I came up on their backgrounds, and once I got to the point where I could actually do backgrounds at that level, I found myself at a place where, I really was hitting my stride. So yeah, doing the background, especially sci-fi stuff.
All right, cool. Randy, what are your thoughts?
Lately, for me, it's been writing, sitting down here in the old dungeon and writing out a lot of stuff by hand or digitally here, and then having just an interesting twist out of the blue, or a character wouldn't do that. That character would go over here and do this, and starts a whole nother, couple pages worth of fun. So it's been a lot of fun, And I think I've said it on here before. The writing the last couple of years has been real eye-opening for me on these stories with the Cull and Brule. It's been a lot of fun. So been good.
Cool. Tom, what are your thoughts?
I definitely, and I kind of thought about this just recently. I'm definitely comfortable with art direction. Like when art comes in, if it's not right, I'm okay telling them it's not right, or it needs a fix, or it needs to do this, whatever. Even when Steppen turned into Pete his Russ, I was like, well, and immediately I thought to myself, what are you doing, moron? Like this is Steppen. He knows what he's doing, but I sent the message anyway. And he just messaged back. He was like, oh yeah, that's what you're talking about. Okay, cool. We can do that. That's no problem. And so it's sort of like it's maybe it's problematic, but it's emboldened me now. It's like I think I know what I'm doing. When I can tell a professional guy who's like this star, like, hey, I think that's wrong, and he's like, yeah, we can fix that. That's no problem. I kind of feel like I've always sort of had a handle on the art side of things, like what it's supposed to look like, how it should look like. Just over the years, I don't, and I've talked to other people where they've asked me, like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And I'm like, oh, well, immediately I see a problem. I see a thing. I see this, the perspective, something's off, whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, I saw that too. And I'm like, well, just tell your artist he's got to fix the thing. And they're like, well, he doesn't like to do edits. And I'm like, yo, you gotta nip that in the bud right now.
No way.
Well, if he had done the panel correctly the first time, he wouldn't have to do edits.
And there was another guy, I'm not going to name it, but there's another colorist that we just started working with, and he turned something in, and it was not right. And he kind of gave me some attitude about it, and I was like, listen, edits are part of this game. You're new at this, so I'm letting this slide. But I was still in the, editor mode of like, listen, you can do this, or I can give this to somebody else. So it's your choice now. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, tell me what you need. And we went through it. There was a few little, back and forths, and finally he got it down. And I was like, yes. See, that wasn't so bad. Wasn't that hard. It didn't take very long. It was easy steps. And he was like, yeah, you're right. And I said, so I'm going to give you another one, and then we'll see how you do. And the next one came through, and it needed some edits again. But again, it was all just sort of fine tuning of things. And he was great. It was like 4 or 5 back and forths. Yep. You're done. He was like, oh, this is great. I was like, yeah, see, it's easy. Just listen, fix, finished. So he's great. I think he learned something really fast, which is awesome. And he's going to get more work. So it's great.
Look, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I write 3 edits into the contract, and I tell them, don't let me have to fix it myself, because I'm gonna make you look stupid.
Mark's the tough boss. He's like, all right.
Just saying. I've been through what you've been through in terms of like people yapping about making edits. I'm like, okay, but he's 3 edits in his contract, and don't let me have to fix it, because if I fix it, you really gonna look dumb.
Nice. All right, Daphne.
I think to dovetail off of Randy, it's like I've been finding myself enjoying the writing process, like really like enjoying the writing process more. I've been like translating my comic work, Ego Raven, into a novelization, and having to think about the story differently. I find that I find that I'm able to do a lot of things with the story that I couldn't do in the comics. So because of that, I find the process incredibly enjoyable, to the point where it's like, after this series is done, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing like more comic books of this length anymore. Like, probably after this series, these 16 issues are done, I'll probably just stick to like doing shorts or something, like 1 or 2 issue shorts, and if even, and then just writing prose for everything else. But when it comes to the actual comic, I think that when I'm lettering, I think lettering is my favorite part of the process, because I think that I really enjoy that. And because it's kind of like, it's signaling to me that I'm at the place where everything starts to come together, where all the work with the art is finally at a place where it's beginning to come together as a comic. And I really enjoy lettering. Like, that's really where I'm in my zone on lettering, because it's like, okay, this is where it's all coming together, and I enjoy that part. So it's split between writing the prose version of the comic or lettering I guess, but letters. That's the common denominator there. It's the letters. It's the typing.
Right.
All right, cool. For me, it's getting lost in the world of my characters. Like, that's the place I feel the most comfortable. It's when I sit down and I'm so immersed, the rest of the world is gone, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm in a free flow state, some kind of like dream state of just writing and, just in that world.
Yeah.
And I think that's the place I feel comfortable. That for me is definitely the place of my most comfort. So, yeah, and the place I enjoy the most. So. All right, Daphne, you're up. Question 2.
Well, I originally was going to start with a different question, but Tom's answer about art direction. So whenever everyone here has had to deal with other artists, including myself, especially when I was dealing with the Zhang brothers, and I've commissioned other people for art as well. So in terms of, I guess, like, getting the artwork that you want, where do you ride the line between trusting the process and allowing an artist to kind of make their own way with your work, and or getting to a point where you're not nitpicking them to death? Like, how do you know where that middle ground is? So how do you know, like, when you should just allow that process to just trust the process, or it's like, nah, there's too much going on, like nitpicking, like I guess, like, I'm talking about the two extremes, right? Like, how do you ride that middle part?
Paulie, you're up.
Yeah, I think I've been really lucky early on so far, working with 2 really incredible comic book artists. And I think one of the things for newer people as they're coming in is to, and it sounds very simple for those of us that have been doing it for longer, but like, for newer people, really spend the time looking at whoever you're interested in working with's work. Really get a feel for their style. How do they do what they do? And can you fit your story into what they do really well? So, for example, my first book was called Devil's Mint. It was set one night in an auction house with haunted pirates' gold, right? And because I worked in auction houses, and that's what I was interested in at that specific moment. And I found Tomas's work, and Tomas had done work with Garth Ennis. He did war stories with him. And he has this really kind of gritty style to him and he has this great way with colors too, that I just kind of said to him, like, as you're writing the story, like, feel free to have really kind of gritty shadows in the background that are being ominous. And very few times did I really have to ask for any major changes for him. But I think a lot of it came down to, like, I spent the time researching what Tomas's artwork looked like before I had even reached out to him. And then even after he agreed to it, I went back into my script and changed a couple things that I thought would work better for his artwork over anyone else. So again, I don't have the most experience as some of the other folks here, but I would just say for anyone new who might be thinking about writing comic books one day, do the research before you think about working with someone.
All right, cool. Mark, what are your
I
thoughts?
don't know, I'm like Paulie. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this. I've been doing this since you and Daphne was doing it. So I vet people hard. You know, being an artist and being a writer, it's like, look, you know, I've heard every excuse in the book, and I'm like, you know, I kind of like I said, I come from role playing games. So those guys, Palladium Books, who I've been working for years, man. So Kevin Symbieta, he's hard. He's a hard art director. And so, you know, I've been hanging out with him for a long time. So I've become kind of a hard art director. So I look for certain things in people. And at that point, like Paulie said, you know, I kind of know what I'm getting. And I kind of know what I do a lot of, though, is that I'm a real big development guy. You know, I like to help people get better. So what I do a lot of is like I'll see somebody just getting kind of used to this style, and this is the cadence that they follow for whatever. I'm like, you know, if you did a little bit of that, it'll probably bring something else on your work. If you did a little bit of that, then, you know, or if you pull back a little bit, it'll probably help your tempo with your story and stuff like that. But they're just suggestions, because I know at the end of the day, these guys are competent guys regardless. So I think that's pretty much where I'm at as far as concerned.
All right, cool. Randy, what are your thoughts?
I've been printing for a long time too. Ran into all sorts of different situations. So you just kind of have to handle it as it goes along. And some guys are just, you know, guys and artists, talent in general, you know, they turn in a job that's way above your expectations, and sometimes it's in the opposite direction.
Sure.
That's the big two jobs at the bottom end of that scale that come to mind for me. I had to just kind of let the let the artist go and make do with what I had and make up for it. And, you know, lost a couple of weeks in production to try to get a book to the printer and with artwork that you thought looked decent enough to print. But you know, like I said, you kind of have to take it as it comes, and every job is individual, you know. So sometimes you'll get a job from an artist too that's just fantastic, and then the next time it comes through, it's just absolute, you know, not their best. Let's put it that way, not their best.
No.
Just kind of have to take it as it goes.
All right, cool. Tom, what are your thoughts?
It's kind of variable. It's a lot of variable. When I hire somebody that's new, again, there's still a variation, right? It's like if I hire somebody that's new that is new versus I hire somebody that's new that is Jim Lee, right? It's like Jim Lee's new to me versus that guy's just new to doing it. So you kind of have to have, you know, two different ways of handling those folks. In the context of somebody who's just new, you know, I try and as gently as possible mold them into what I need them to be through the script. I make them really pay attention to the script. We go through steps so that they're not getting so far ahead of themselves that if something's wrong, like they're drawing a character wrong or something, then they got to go back and fix page after page after page. It's like, no, just give me a loose rough. Show me your storytelling. Show me your panels. If the story doesn't flow, we're going to fix it in the roughs before we move on. And so I try and create this system where it's very easy for them to succeed. And if there is a tweak, it's a very easy thing to do because we haven't done any finished pencils or anything yet. And that's worked over the years. And then over the years, those guys that I've worked with, they've gotten more grace from me to just do it your way. Like, I trust you now. I've worked with you for years. I trust what you're doing. If something still pops up that's like, oh, nope, we missed that, we'll still fix it. But I give them more leeway to just be like, now this is your book. You know what I need, you know what I expect. Now do it your way, and we'll go from there. And that's worked. It's worked really well. Again, every now and then, like we talked about with the colorist, you find a guy that's like, well, I drew the thing. I'm like, well, okay, but you didn't draw the thing right. And we got to have it drawn right. So let's figure it out. There's only been a handful of people that I have legitimately fired because they would not do the work the way that it needed to be done. Right. Mm-hmm. They wanted to do it their way. And I'm like, well, no, I'm paying you. I'm the publisher. I'm the writer. I have to have a product that I can put my name on and put into the market. And if you're not able to do that, we can't work together. So it's only in 16 years, it's only really happened a couple of times. And in other cases, people literally, they came through my system and then they went off and they're working for Marvel and DC and shit now. So you're welcome, guys. You're welcome up there. I'm training all of your new stars.
I've been there.
There you go.
So, and then with covers, and it's kind of the same thing with covers. It's like, I've worked with so many people for so long that, like, for the most part, I'm just like, this is kind of what I want. Go ahead. But even then, when I'm working guys with like Mike Crome or Mike DeBalfo or any of these guys that have names attached to them, they're still sending me like roughs. Like, here's a pose, here's a pose, here's a pose. Pick the one you want. And I'm like, oh yeah, that one. That's let's go with number 3, whatever. And then they're like, good, cool, go. And then I don't really have notes after that because I trust that they've already done this and they understand what I want. When Mike did his for Goth Day, he did ask me, like, straight up. He was like, so am I okay to like change the costume? Like, instead of just going with the normal catnip costume, can I sort of like cyber goth her up a little bit and do a different sort of thing? And I was like, yeah, I trust you to do that. I trust you to be able to still maintain a visual sense so that we understand it's still catnip, but in this sort of modified zone. I wouldn't let a newbie just do that if they had asked. But because I had worked with Mike for so long and I know what he does, I'm like, yes, I know what you want to do. I understand. You go ahead, and we got this crazy freaking piece that's unbelievable. So I think it's all just variable to who it is and where they are in their sort of artistic, build up, and you got to kind of take it piece by piece.
Cool. Let me see. It depends, right? Like, when it comes down to Oswald, vetting. Like, I have to vet. Like, I have to take a hard look at the artist's work, see what they've done prior. If I see they could do like monsters and dragons and, a cat in one case, but do it well, then I'll be like, maybe I could give them a shot at give them a shot at drawing the mouse, because that's usually the character that causes. I've shown it to guys from Marvel and DC, and they're like, nah. They're just like, no. They can draw big beefy men, they can draw beautiful women, but asking them to draw a mouse, and they're like, come on, it's too much. It's just like, it's very strange. It's very strange. But
would you want a Jim Lee mouse? I mean, I'm not even sure that would translate.
Well,
Has he ever drawn a mouse in his life?
I don't know. But who I would like to get is Kyle Hotz.
Yeah.
Because
man, buddy.
Yeah, he is. I mean, because he draws the Muppets. He draws the Muppets, and I'm like, if he can draw the Muppets, he can draw Oswald.
yeah.
So that's my thought process. But with someone like Jay Gonzalez, who I've been working with forever, like, I haven't seen. The only thing she sends me layouts for is covers. But for interior page, I have not seen an interior page layout like in years. I mean, better part of 10 years at least. Like, and I have to say, like, the amount of times I've asked her to change stuff, I can count on maybe one hand in the 14, 15 years that I've been working with her, So yeah, so I mean, with her, it's worked out great. With Aurelio, the other artist I work with, he sends me layouts for everything. And it's funny because I get his and he completely letters his layouts, which I think is cool because he knows the placement of all the words, and it helps me out because even though I do my own lettering, I I look at what he does and I say, oh, where was he going to place that? Oh, cool. And it makes it just a little bit easier for word placement. I'm like, there you go. That's cool. Because I've had plenty of artists that I've worked with them and given them short stories like, oh, and I'll letter it too. And I'm like, nope, slow down.
Right.
It's like that part I got. I'm not going to change your page rate. I'm just, your page rate can stay whatever it is, but I got the lettering. I can handle that portion of it. Only because I like that extra layer of editorial.
Sure.
Because I like to go in and I'll tweak the dialogue and I'll play with dialogue and that happens on that level. That's why I've had at least one instance where it was translated into Spanish. And this one publisher wanted to translate the stuff and, he paid me a fee or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. And he was like, send me the script. I'm like, you really don't want to go by the script. It says, go by what I printed. Here, take this. Because the script doesn't have everything that's on that printed page. Because I've gone in and done a re-edit and rewritten a whole bunch of stuff. So it's just like, you want to work from what I printed. So that works out like that. All right, Daphs, you're up.
Well, because the biggest challenge that I come across, I don't commission a lot of artists because, I'm an artist. So it's like most of the time I just do the artwork myself. So the thing that I really look for in artists is that they have to be able to do things that I can't or don't do. Which kind of puts me in a weird position where it's like, I want to trust the process, but at the same time, I guess to paraphrase Mark, if I have to fix your shit, it's like it kind of defeats the purpose of me commissioning you. So it's like I work regularly with Jaden Lanning, Nita's daughter, and I give her a lot of leeway in terms of how the final piece looks, because what she really, really excels at is getting the vibe of the scene. Like literally, it's like I'm commissioning her for vibes more than accuracy. So I pretty much let her get away with a lot of a lot of stuff that I don't allow other artists to do, because she gets the vibe so on point that it's like, it's like, yeah, you gave me a Victorian background instead of a medieval background, but that's fine. You got the vibe that I wanted, right? But there were other artists that I don't work with anymore, because in the end, it's like, like I literally had an artist kind of like push back on me as to what my own character looked like.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, honey, let's just finish this right here. I'm never going to use you again. So like pretty much the second I have a problem with an artist, I never use them again.
So, bro.
And when I was dealing with, and it's because of my experience that I was very, very hesitant to actually finally commissioned the Zhang brothers. Also, one, because of experience and my previous experience, and two, because they are pricey. So it's like, okay, how do I get through this process, get the artwork that I want, and pay this money and feel like I'm getting my money's worth? And what I ended up doing was I ended up creating a brief for them. So I wasn't going to draw anything out for them because, again, defeats the purpose. But I still had kind of an idea of what I wanted. So I created a brief that pretty much spelled out what I was looking for, but not anything really specific. And I gave examples of like other pieces of artwork, especially their own artwork. This was a mistake that I did with a previous artist where I commissioned them, but I didn't show them the pieces of theirs that inspired me to commission them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Because then I ended up getting something that I really disliked.
Right.
Like I knew I had made a mistake when they had sent me the sketches, but because I didn't know how to explain what I wanted, I just kind of had to eat shit on that commission,
Ooh.
But this time with the Zhang brothers, I did a brief, and so it was a combination of I needed to be specific enough that they get the character right, but I wanted to give them enough leeway that I could get a Zhang brothers piece.
Right.
You know, and luckily I was absolutely blown away by the first piece that I got that's on my pre-launch page right now, and it's like it wasn't what I was expecting, but it's definitely what I wanted. So I was very happy that my gamble paid off.
Right.
What's ironic is that the second one wasn't quite as, but again, it's like I gave them a brief. I gave them kind of like what I was looking for, but they gave me something a little different. And I decided instead of nitpicking, I was just going to let the process go. I was just going to like, okay, let me trust the process. And I got the piece back. And what's funny is that the main piece, I absolutely love the main piece because it's straight up like a fantasy piece. Honestly, I was telling Jose, it's like, I've never seen the Zhang brothers do a piece that looks like this, but the ironic thing about it is that the nude version of that same piece didn't work out the way I had wanted. I still have it, but I'm not quite sure what to do with it because it's not like it's not quite what I wanted, but I'm still okay with it. And then it's like with the third piece that I'm commissioning from them, I gave them the brief again, but this time I decided to skip the nude cover. And I go, okay, let me split the difference. But because as an artist, like I've had to deal with my fair share of people wanting changes. And it's like, it's like, I want to create a piece that reflects what the commissioner wants.
Sure.
But at the same time, I have come across people who have nitpicked the shit out of the pieces that I'm drawing. Like it just seemed like, and even that it's like the weirder the nitpick, the more it's like, I'm never working with you again.
Love.
like I'm talking about their nitpicking shit that it's like nobody but you is noticing this. Or it's like I followed your directions. This is how it would look. The fact that you wanted to look like something else, like you're contradicting your own direction.
Yeah.
And I can't work with that. And it's like, it's like when they get like way too nitpicky, I'm like, I'm not gonna work with like you couldn't pay me enough to work with you. So it's kind of like I'm still kind of like writing this line as to like, okay, when do I just trust the process, or when do I just like, okay, this has to change? But I don't know. I'm still kind of working that out. But the whole brief thing, I think has really been helping me out. So I guess the more instructions I give an artist ahead of time, the more likely I'm going to get something that I'm really happy with back.
I tell artists, I tell writers this all the time. A lot of writers, I say, hey man, you dealing with artists, an artist and a puppet. You're not putting your hand up their butt just to get whatever
right.
you want to
Yeah.
get, right?
Yeah.
He ain't no hand puppet. So you gonna trust them, or you gonna go find your artist that you, because I know a lot of writers that'll do that.
Right.
They'll be like nitpicking so much. It's like, look, hold up, homie. You get a little out of hand. Like, and that's why I instituted for our guys the 3 changes rule. It's like, look, after the 3rd change, you ain't got it. Well, hey, you may as well go to somebody else because we not, otherwise you're gonna have to pay, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Chompy had posted something up, referring, I guess, to the other question. It says, would you be as comfortable doing those same things you enjoy for someone else? I think this is an interesting question.
It is,
right? Because we'll do our thing, but it's like, Mark.
Oh, I love drawing backgrounds. I do it. It's funny because, like, again, I do art for other people in our studio, right? And they always like, man, dude, you always come up with that one page. The first page got to be crazy with backgrounds. I'm like, that's me, dude. I'm sorry. So yeah, I would other people for no problem.
All right, cool. Randy?
I've been thinking about that exact thing as far as writing other people's properties. I think I'd like to give it a go just to see how it goes. So I think it'd be fun to do.
Cool. I mean,
yeah, I've been technically that was for almost the last decade and a half. That's what I was doing. Yeah, but like I'm doing both sides now. But one of the things as an artist, especially in this industry, don't take it personal, and you're gonna have to do edit stuff because it's not your problem, it's not your thing. With IDW, plenty of work, but yeah, there were tons and tons of edits, which is really sometimes not coming from them; it's coming from the IP owners. Same thing with Moonstone. When I did the Buckaroo Bonsai book, that had tons of edits coming from Richter, W.D. Richter, the director of the movie and the owner.
wow.
Back and forth. Nope, car. It was really, the car has this over here and that over here, but that's in a deleted scene. That's not in the movie. But let me send you some photos of what we had back, like production photos that we did for. But that's part of it. That I never take it in stride. It's like, okay, I'm just the same way that I would hire an electrician or a plumber to do something. Like, can you move this, move that over there? If you're too problematic for that, then you're in the wrong industry. I'm going to find somebody else.
Yeah.
So I never take it into stride. Yeah, there are some clients that were just too damn picky and stuff. It's like, I hired you. Yeah, you hired me, but now you're telling me you want me to draw like Jeff Smith. I don't do that.
There you go, right there. You want
like,
Jeff Smith, hire Jeff Smith.
Yeah. It's like you have to. For every story, it's going to have its own look, its own feel. So you got to do your research on the artist and even writer that you're going to want to work on those things, and they have to be professional in terms of how they treat things and how they work with you. If they can't do that, then you know what, especially with the artists, coming from somebody with an illustration background, having to deal with the fine artists, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's just like, you're going to take what I give you. No, fucker, I'm paying you to draw the book with this and this. If you can't do it, you're out of here. And they always give a fit and whatnot. It's like, yeah, go draw your own stupid book. And then they never can, but they'll complain about it. I can do that more because it's like, I write. Now I'm a writer, author, but I'm also an illustrator. So when people start giving me shit, I was like, no, this is how you do it. I'll draw it right there in front of them. And it's like, don't give me shit. That's how you do it. Yeah, absolutely. You got to be professional about it. Learn. Be willing to learn, be willing to make your edits, and of course, if you go to the Tom Hutchison School of Comic Book Careers, then you'll end up probably at Marvel and Indy. So make sure that you check for Tom, because it's like,
I'll make you a star.
Exactly.
All right, cool. Paulie, what are your thoughts?
Because this is my hobby, and I'm focusing on my historical research and my end goal of writing history books. I'm really interested in just telling the stories that excite me, and those tend to be my own kind of properties for right now. So I think I'm happily staying within my zone as per now, and leaving the rest to you guys.
Okay. Fair enough. Tom, what are your thoughts?
Yes, you can hire me to be your art director. Yes.
There you go. Well, listen, man, they're doing a lot of edits to the editorial staff over at Marvel, so you never know. Get that resume.
I'm here. I can fix your problems, Marvel. I can tell you that Spider-Man cover would never get past my desk, and y'all can figure out what I'm talking about.
There you go. Nice. All right, Daphne, what are your thoughts?
I do commissions, but only like very specific commissions. I do not do comic book art professionally in terms of doing comic book art for other people. Actually, I've only done comic book art for only 2 people, and they're both on the screen. I definitely do comic art for Jose here, and I have done comic book art for Randy. These are the only 2 people I have done comic book art for. And that's pretty much how it's staying. I kind of got into doing comic books. Mind you, I am somebody with a fine art degree. I got into comics quite accidentally, and I pretty much learned very quickly that this is not something that I want to do for hire, essentially. Like, the only comics I'm doing are the comics that I enjoy doing. And like I said, it's like I said, Randy is the only other person that I ever considered and actually did comic book artwork for. Because, Aniverse was a huge inspiration for me during the whole 80s boom. And I mean, sometimes I look back on my older artwork and I can still see like very direct influences, from Aniverse. So when Randy showed up on the scene, I think like he had been talking to Jose about, it's like, oh, do you think that she would be willing to do something for Mischievous? And Jose just like barely got the words out of his mouth, and I'm going, I'm in. I'm in. Yeah. Whatever Randy wants, Randy gets.
You saw the mountain of notes on your story I gave you too.
Yeah, it was like, but to do it like for hire, like I wouldn't work for Tom. Sorry, Tom.
Wow, and it day, boy.
No, yeah. I mean, like, I'm very selfish with my work. And in the end, it's like, even though I do all these Kickstarters and this is a hobby for me in the end. I'm not running this as a business. I'm not doing this as a business. So I'm just going to keep it to what I enjoy and what I want to do. Sometimes it's working, on a Mischievous story. Sometimes it's working on some very important commissions, and sometimes it's just doing whatever else I feel like. So.
All right. Cool.
A good use of my fine art degree.
Well, for myself, yes, I can do it for other people. I have done it for other people. Like I said, I did Tenchi Muyu, I did La Blue Girl, I did Demon Beast Invasion, and a few other things for other folks. And it's just a matter of the research. You give me enough material to read and really like dig into it. I can, sit there and project myself into that other world and, write that insanity down on paper too as it comes to me. So, like I said, I've done it. I enjoy doing it, but I got to be honest with you. The only reason I stopped doing it is because I really don't like pitching to editors. It was like I would write like pages and pages and pages of stuff. Like, oh, this is nice. Or it just in those cases, just those companies just went completely, because somebody ran off with a bunch of their money, but that had nothing to do with it.
Right.
So yeah.
Been there.
Yeah. Daphne, you got another one, or you want me to go?
I got one. I'll go. Right. Yeah. What excites you about indie comics, and what frustrates you about indie comics? But it has, as a fan, and has nothing to do with your comics or your business in indie comics. So pretty much what excites you about indie, what frustrates you as a fan. Forget about your comics, your business, or anything. Just as a fan.
Fair enough. Randy, what are your thoughts?
What excites me about indie comics is that they're indie comics, that you can do anything. It's independent. You can do whatever you want and say whatever you want, and whatever fashion that you want to do it in, and the market will sift it out. My frustration is that market doesn't give the proper, I don't think, amount of reach and exposure on this art form. And this art form, especially here in this side of the world, isn't taken nearly as serious as it should be as a legitimate art form. You get overseas and it's a whole different story, where sequential artists are looked at as artists, where over here we're looked at as funny book people.
Yeah.
You know. And it's almost a down your nose kind of situation. That's difficult to break. And it's not everybody. Some people are coming around, and you're so slowly seeing it shift around, where people are looking at comics as actual art again. But it's can't happen fast enough to me. And the distribution part of it is the real pain. You know, there's not enough good comics out there, and I keep telling everybody that the market is so bad that the Japanese were able to just come in and teach the kids how to read backwards in order to be entertained. So that says that I don't think it says a lot about the Western market. You know, it doesn't say anything positive about it. And I blame Marvel, DC, and Diamond for that kind of the mess that modern comics are in.
All right, cool. Amin, what are your thoughts?
What I love about the variety, like there's everything and anything is available, and you can see it and kind of seeing that creativity. I mean, what frustrates me is probably consistency, in terms of just kind of like, you'll get one book now, may or may not come out before 2030, which is a shame, because there's a lot of good stuff sometimes, and it's just like, damn it, you know. Like there was a book called Copra in the very beginning, loved it, and they took a while to come out, and then they kind of found their stride, and they kept going. And I was like, okay, I'm still a big fan of that group. For saying, I was like, yeah, that's how it should be, you know. And it's not that you're grilling things out like Marvel and DC, at least trying to keep things consistent enough that you're still getting out there, that you're not trying to avoid some of that stigma with Kickstarter, with those that are not familiar with it. I'm going to pay for a book that may not come out. Like, why am I going to give you money for that? So it's, yeah, that's one of my biggest frustrations. One of the things I try to keep up and trying to get my stuff out there for that reason, to not be one of those people tainting the industry.
All right, cool. Paulie, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think one of the great things is just being able to have a little bit of a better communication with independent publishers, and getting to kind of, you know, they're easier to access, I feel like, in many ways, to write them a message, and they're more quick to get back to you. And a great example of this is a good friend of mine, Joseph Oliveira, is publishing a lot of really great horror comics in the UK. And one of my favorite books that has come out in the last 2 years is a graphic novel called The Passenger of U-977. It's about a submarine during World War II and horror. And it has this really incredible watercolor style paint artwork inside of it, which also leads me to one of the negative bits, which is he's publishing a lot and translating a lot of really incredible artwork. And then many of those artists don't end up having more English edition works. And so trying to track down some more of their artwork and having a harder time being able to read it is a real bummer, where it's like, I think it was Carlos, is it Botticelli, I think, who did that one. But I went and tried to find more of his works, and there weren't as many as I wanted. And the ones that I could get, I had to Google Translate to be able to read them. So like, that's one of the great things, is being able to connect with people that you probably wouldn't have connected with otherwise. But maybe a negative is, like, even though we are in an age of technological advancement and, you know, getting to read books that are published across the world, we're still not there yet where we can just have things automatically translate for us in our heads.
but it's a great way to learn languages.
No,
That too. That too.
Yeah. Daphne loves her bande dessinée, so
Yeah, I have a whole
man, me
collection
too.
of French and
Me
Italian
too.
comics. Yeah.
So Mark, you're up.
I love the camaraderie in the indie space, big time. You know, I think that we all help each other out for the most part. The thing that frustrates me is how the mainstream, a lot of quote unquote mainstream artists forget that they came from the indie market their own self. That's one thing, so they'll be, they'll act like they've escaped, and I'm just like, oh, you haven't escaped, you just gone for a little bit. Because when that popularity starts to wane, oh, look, whoever the heck this guy is who was at Marvel, now you got an indie book, you know what I mean? So it's like, I would like to see that camaraderie just go throughout the entire comic industry that I'm not seeing.
All right, cool. Ta.
Yeah, I'm just gonna piss people off, but that's fine. I think, I mean, everything that everybody said about what's good about it is the truth. There's the variety, there's different people, and everybody's doing different stuff, and none of us have to write these like world-ending events every summer to attract attention. It's just we're just telling stories and doing what we do, and that's fine, and I think that's the best part of it all. The part that frustrates me, though, and this is coming from literally I was at con 3 hours ago where I was seeing this happen, is it? I feel like there's just too many people that are making books now that you open it up and everybody's just banging. It's just like, Jesus Christ. There's stuff that that's what it is. I can look at it, I know what it is. But I'm seeing like, okay, here's a Western. Oh, they're banging. Oh, here's a superhero book. Oh, they're banging. Here's this book. Oh, they're banging. It's like, Jesus Christ. Are we actually telling stories, or are we just pornography now as an industry? Like it's crazy how much of, and it's not everywhere, but it's too much. And at the con, not at this con specifically, but at all cons, I get all the time people walking by the booth and they see a girl on the cover, and I know I can see it in their face that they're thinking in their brain they're banging in that book, and I have to change their mind. I'd be like, no, stop, come back, you looked at something, tell me what's going on. And I'd be like, look, open the book. Oh my God, they're not banging. They might be punching each other in superhero books, and they might be shooting guns, but they're not banging. But I know that there's like this sort of pervasive thought process of comics with, specifically, if a girl's on a comic, they're banging in that book, and we have to actively change their minds in that regard. So that's the only thing that kind of frustrates me, is it kind of feels like a lot of people are taking that sort of quote unquote shortcut to be like, I know I can sell some tits and make a little money, and that's fine. I don't care that you're doing it. I don't care that it exists, but I can see it in sort of the general like tone of like people. There was a guy and a girl today. They came by. They were probably in their 20s. Dude comes by and he is actively like, he is engaged. He is like looking at the stuff. He's like, dun, 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 dun. And then his girlfriend comes by and literally does this and turns his head away and walks them away from the table. I'm like, oh my God, what does she think that we were doing at that table? So yeah,
so the issue that people have with Kickstarter pre this whole nonsense is actually kind of this is leaking into regular Comic Cons as well. Like, I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So.
It's been happening for a while.
Well, I mean, I've always seen people sort of disregard what we do. In fact, I love having Jen Broomall at our booths, because she's fantastic and she's a woman and she will attack when it happens, because I can't do it. I can't have a woman come up to the booth and I can be like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I can't do that because I get canceled and all this kind of stuff. But we were at a booth one time where a woman came by and And she asked him, she said, "Hey guys, what are you looking for?" And the woman goes, "I don't know, something without tits on it." And Jen goes, "What do you mean?" You know, because she's a built girl, and she was just looking at the thing. Well, there's just tits. It's just tits everywhere and everywhere. And so Jen just came out. She's like, "Listen, these are superheroes. These are fantasy characters. This is and and she wouldn't let this woman walk away without explaining, like, this is what we're doing here, man. I mean, there's no boobs, there's no naked, there's no banging. It's just stories and fantasy art, and basically get over yourself was her message to this woman. And I just basically stood off to the side, like, she's got it. I don't have to do it.
Right.
She's got this handled. But that's the attitude, right? And then the other thing is I'll get women who'll come by and be like, "Why aren't there any like topless men on your books?" And I'll be like,
"Oh, that's because they were all at the convention I was at a week ago."
and so I'll go, "Oh, wait just a second," and I'll pull out, you know, like one of our covers with like Lucifer on it, you know, an angel in the perfect body. He's got the toga on, and he's doing it. I'm like, "Yeah, we're here. This is this," and the answer is always like, "Oh." All right.
Well,
That's all political, though.
because she's only saying that to be facetious,
right?
Not because she was actually interested.
100%.
Like I said, yeah.
And then the next step is it's $10. Well, what do you mean? Well, it's $10. You asked for this. I have it. It's $10.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to buy it. Well, if you're not going to buy it, then why should I make it?
Because I just wanted to be an asshole.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So that's the whole thing. Is like there's this weird bubble of thought in the general public about what comics are in general. It's completely wrong. Yes, there are banging comics. They exist. But that doesn't mean that everything is like that. So please don't assume that it is. Help us out, and we can help you out. And so.
Well, the thing is, too, I go through that stuff with, you know, doing a lot of quote unquote urban stuff. You know, they look at your stuff and see some, you know, brother on there. You know, they just be like, "Oh, this isn't for me." I'm like, "You ain't picked the book up. You know, you want to pick it up, and then you find out if it is for you or not."
Yeah.
You know, but automatically they like, "Oh, you know." I'm like, well, again, if that was the case, hip hop wouldn't be selling as well as it's been selling for the last 30 years. You know, so I mean, again, I go. I'm saying I go through the same thing in a different area.
What's funny is not funny, but it's just messed up that the stigma that comics had for a long time, which was like, this is just for kids.
Whatever.
Now it's become where it's like, oh, you draw titty comics. You know, it's like, no,
it's all pornography. Now.
It's that pendulum swinging back and forth.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, and it's for those that are not used to it, or they're new or whatnot. Which I've been I've been getting a lot of new readers into comics, and that's the first comment they get, like, "Oh, it's great, you're doing something that's not tits." You know, but then you know, then you have the whole big fiasco with Kickstarter, and then everyone that does that is making a big hoopla about it. It's like, I don't know, and probably like Tom would say, like, I may piss some people off. Like, I think it's time for us to grow up as an industry.
Yeah. I concur.
Stop it with stuff, and do we want to get to the same level as the European comics?
I would push back on that a little bit, only because we do have great indie comics. They exist. They're out there. But like what Randy said, there's no marketing for it. There's no push towards the good stuff. There's no, like, you need to see, and outside of things that have names attached to it, you know, like Image guys come over and they make something and whatever.
And the thing is that the indie market, the alternative market especially, has had this happen in waves since the 80s. I mean, right before Image came in, as Turtles was cresting, there was a lot of really crazy alternative and independent books out there on all sorts of different stuff that was starting to come out.
Yeah.
And then when Image popped up, all the retailers went in that direction, and that whole black and white market dried up. That and the fact that everybody and their brothers started doing Turtles imitations. So you had Kung Fu Weasels and who knows what else running around.
Samurai Penguins.
But there's
Samurai
Penguins. You saw a little wave again, and you're seeing another wave now, especially with the last 10 15 years with crowdfunding, you're seeing the alternative in the independent market springing out with a lot of, really just super inventive stuff. It's just the problem is that it's not getting out there to enough people. And there's some pretty just groundbreaking material out there that, would catch on if it was under enough people's noses.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Some nice quality work there,
All right, cool. Well, I think for myself, to join Tom with pissing people off, I have my own take. It's a little different. Is that all right? I'm like everybody else. I love the variety that's out there. Right? There's a lot of great books, a lot of different types of books, and that's the thing that always attracted me to indie comics. Is like I remember when I was a kid and I saw my first indie comic, which was the Jack Kirby, Pacific Comics, Captain
Victory.
Was it Captain Victory? Yes, Captain Victory. Yes.
Captain Victory. Yeah.
So, that was the first one I ever saw. And then it was soon followed by DNA Agents and Kamiko with Elementals. And I found the Realm, and I found all these different variety of books. And they really attracted me because it wasn't the stuff being produced from Marvel and DC. And that's what still attracts me to them. It's like I go out there and I see different things, right? One of the things that I find frustrating as a fan is that for every one good indie comic I find, there's 4 or 5 of them that were too soon out of the oven.
Right.
Okay. Like the people doing them just weren't ready. Okay. They weren't studious enough with what they were doing. And they were just like, oh, let's just get that out there. And even if it took them 2 or 3 years, you understand, they didn't have that certain je ne sais quoi to.
But that's the teaching ground, though.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
It's
but
literally where everybody goes to learn.
Yeah, but the thing is though, is like, I mean, I'll be honest with you, like Daphne and I started at the same time, and she can attest to this. I met Daphne in 87. Okay. And we started working on comics in 87. We didn't release our first comic till 92. There was a 5-year period of saying, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck. And that was because there was a group of us that worked together. Right. And for those 5 years, we sat around scrutinizing one another until we felt we could put out a comic book. Right. And I mean, and it was a tough, we were young. We were like 17, 18 years old. You understand? But we still sat down and we made it a point to do that research or to put ourselves through that. Right. Because, we just thought that was the way we should do it. Like, it's not like anybody.
Right people around you too, no doubt. You definitely got to have the right people around you.
Right. And I mean, it's, and you're right, Randy, because, if you see Dave Sims' first 25 issues on Cerebus, you can see it and be like, ooh, it's rough. Right. Yeah. But once he hits that 26th issue, right. And you're like, wow, okay, something happened. Right. He took that time to grow. But I don't feel that people give themselves enough time to grow, beforehand, because I think a
lot of these, it gets into the system. We always joked around back in the when we were doing Arrow Comics in the late 80s. We saw it happen so many times. You get that first book in your hand and you look through it and you see that gleam in your eye and it gets into your blood that at that point if you're going to do that the rest of your life. And I've seen it happen so many times to people that you see that gleam hit and then they end up figuring that they have to leave or they have to go make money or make a living or whatever, doing whatever. They always end up coming back.
Yep.
They end up coming back and doing something in comics because that's like holding the first time you hold your baby, and in the nursery, you see that bond happens. And same thing happens with the industry. It's such a great art form and a great way of communicating and expression that once you get it, you get that bug, it doesn't go away.
Yeah, listen, I remember, I'll say this real quick and we'll wrap up. I remember when I was about 20 years old, I got our first comic. I was at my job, right? I think it was 20. I think I was 20 years old. I got it. I got the package from FedEx at my job. I had them delivered to my job. That's it right there. That's the first comic we did. I opened it
There
up.
we go.
I looked at it. We had a convention that weekend, right, in Pennsylvania. And I looked at it. It was a Monday. I flipped through it. I was completely ecstatic. I turned to my boss. I said, listen, this is my last week working here. Right?
Well, in the 90s, you could say that, though. It probably could have been.
Yeah.
I was like, this is my last week working here. And my poor boy, like I said, I was 20. I didn't know what I was doing, right? I didn't know I should put it by 2 weeks, right? And my poor boss, like now in retrospect, I'm like, oh my God, what did I do to that poor woman?
I'm gonna be rich.
Start you
Go back 20 bucks.
I'm balling, son.
Yep, exactly. And that's what it was. It was just like, oh man, nuts. But yeah, that's it.
Look,
Gentlemen and lady, thank you so much for being here. This was awesome. You guys are all great. Please, let's start with Mark. Where can we find you and your work, sir?
find me at Judah Fist Comics Series. It's just Judah Fist Comics Series. And you also can catch me over at ImagineThoseWorkshop.com.
All right, cool. Randy?
Facebook and X if you want to talk to me personally, but I also podcast twice a week. Friday mornings at 5 a.m. I do Comics by Night, where we look through great sequential art from all over the place. We do it early Friday morning because I catch a couple of guys from England and we just sit there and look through great comics. And then Sunday morning at 9 a.m. and these times are Eastern Standard Time, I do Sunday Funnies, where we do the same thing. We look through great sequential art. So right now we're going through Akira on Sundays. We're about a little past halfway on that series. We'll sit there and look at it and examine it, talk about the techniques used and and let the conversation wander where it will. It's a lot of fun. That's Sunday Funnies, Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and then Comics by Night, 5 a.m. on Friday mornings. So check us out. We're archived over at the Indy Comics Network YouTube channel. So go over there, like and subscribe.
All right, cool. Amin?
And then look for the Atlantean coming soon, fundmycomic.com is where we have those campaigns. The Atlantean 5 campaign will start as soon as the Atlantean, as soon as the work is done on the book. We have a definite date that we know that we're going to hit for getting it to the publisher. That's when we start the campaign. So look for that later in the year.
All right, cool.
So,
Amin?
Yeah, so you can find the Road to Oz as the Road to Oz comic on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me, Amin Amat, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much everywhere. You can just Google me as well and track me down. And of course, the Road to Oz Chapter 3 is live on Kickstarter with probably $400 left right now at this point. So see you there.
Cool. Paulie?
Feel free to send a passenger pigeon. I'll keep an eye out outside the window. But if not, you can follow me on Instagram, Paulie Wenger or Rat King Comic. Any one of those works. And hit me up.
All right, cool. Tom?
BigDogInc.com. Get your books. This is going to be my last podcast for a while because I got 2 road shows that I'll be on. So I won't be back until June for all of this nonsense. Goth Day runs another couple of weeks. Grab Goth Day, and then we'll be launching the next issue of Legend of Oz: The Wicked West, end of July, early August, and I will be out at San Diego Comic-Con for the first time in almost 10 years this year. So
it's definitely convention season.
There you go. So I'll be at the Antarctic Press booth celebrating
Happy
Critter
trails.
all weekend. So come on out.
Cool. Daphne?
Well, if you want to learn more about me and my artwork and my comics about people banging, you can head on over to my morning portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. You can read Eagle Raven, Air the First Unicorn for free. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure that people also, for some reason, keep thinking it's a comic about people banging, which it's not, you can follow the link over to Tall Tales, TAILS online.com, and you can read the archive of over 1,000 pages there for free.
All right, cool. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Kickstarter, especially Kickstarter with the Oswald Chronicles with another, I think, 14 hours left. So go check that out. And most Sundays here, but not next Sunday. Next Sunday, I'm actually going to be at a show, so I will be missing. No show that weekend. We'll be back hopefully the following weekend. But yes, please, everyone, and remember, please check out the show notes, because in the show notes are links to all of these creators' works. All of these creators are doing fantastic books. So please click on those links, buy those books, because without your support, these creators can't keep creating their dreams, right? And if they feel it's vital, you understand that we all do this, because listen, they're all creating great works and they all deserve to continue. So please click those links, buy those books, and just remember, everyone, read more indie comics, especially ours. Thank you and have a great night.
Take care, everybody.
Ciao.